Welcome back, gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining me again here on Take Charge on Locals. Today is going to be, I'm thinking a pretty quick one, but I do want to take a moment to talk about strength. I'm going to separate strength into three different categories. We're going to start with physical, moving on then to emotional, and lastly, mental. These three components of strength are necessary components of being a man. Obviously, when we're talking physical strength, men are in fact expected to be physically strong. To that end, today's society doesn't really lend itself very well to that. We are no longer the hunters of yesteryear, your whatever. With that, it is incumbent upon us to make sure that we stay as physically strong as possible through heavy free weight training. And when I say heavy, I mean in a relative sense. If you're new to lifting weights, the bar is going to be a pretty good challenge. It goes beyond muscular strength and kind of into learning the movement pattern. You'll pick up strength very quickly as a newbie, but even the bar can be a challenge for those new to the weightlifting game, to the weight training game. There are plenty of different good programs out on the interweb for you guys to follow. My personal favorite is anything by Ripito with his starting strength and derivations thereof. There's also Strong Lifts 5x5 as well as Grayskull. These are all exceptional programs. All of them share one thing in common, and that is the attention or focus on compound lifts. Compound lift means a movement that involves more than one joint. So we're talking about the squat, the overhead press, deadlift, bench press, and to an extent maybe the power clean, depending on where you're at in your training, career, time-wise, as well as injury or lack of capacity due to injury, things like that. I do want to take a quick moment to mention some bodyweight movements that are worth incorporating as you progress through your weight training. That would be bar dips, as well as chin-ups and push-ups. Some people prefer pull-ups over chin-ups. It's ultimately a personal preference. I like chin-ups. That's just me. Push-ups you can do with a little bit of extra depth if you've got those silly push-up handles. Those are fine. And then dips are a mainstay. Those I would definitely make sure to incorporate somewhere in your strength training. Moving then on to emotional strength. Ultimately, with emotional strength, what we're talking about is not allowing the emotions that arise from a given situation to cloud your judgment and your logic, okay? I feel, personally, this can best be addressed through the practice of Stoicism. And what we're trying to do, essentially with Stoicism, is still experience the emotion, because as human beings, even as men, we're still human beings, we're still going to experience emotion, but what we want to avoid is letting that emotion cloud our judgment in order to determine the best way to handle the situation that brought on that emotional response. A couple of things you can do in that regard is just ask yourself some questions. First and foremost, is experiencing this emotion giving me different choices or providing me other routes to go when I look to handle this situation? Another way to look at that, another question is what are you not seeing due to the emotion? Is the emotion blinding you to options that are out there? If that makes any sense to you. So we want to make sure that we're kind of taking in the entirety of the situation at hand and not allowing the emotion to cloud our judgment. Remember, we are in control of our responses, in control of our emotions, not the other way around. If we allow the emotion to make the decision, I don't think it ever really goes well. I think it's best to try to remove emotion. Let's not say remove. Go ahead and experience the emotion, but not let it affect the decision when it comes to making the best choices possible. Then lastly, moving on to moving on to mental strength. I'm going to throw back to something that sticks with me from my interactions with Dr. Robert Glover when he says, no matter what happens, I'll handle it. And I've heard him say this numerous times, both in his books and conversations I've had with him. And that really is the crux of it. No matter what happens, I'll handle it. In day-to-day life, we're going to be presented with things that challenge our mental capacity. Some of them are going to be pretty mundane and not much of a challenge. What time should I eat today? Other choices are going to be exceptionally profound. What do I need to do in order to get that promotion? So we want to make sure that our mental strength is up to snuff, so to speak, to better make those decisions, okay? Things that we can do to help improve our mental strength, pretty easy. Pick up an instrument and learn how to play it. Make sure you're getting your reading in. Whatever you choose to read, just make sure it's challenging to your reading level and that you do it fairly often. Really what we're trying to do when it comes to mental strength is just use rationale and logic to determine the best course of action with the day-to-day challenges, whether they're profound or mundane. These three things, physical strength, emotional strength, mental strength, all share one very important thing in common, and that is discomfort. Without discomfort, there cannot be growth. If we're looking to develop ourselves as men, as human beings, as spouses or boyfriends, we need to lean into discomfort. We need to get comfortable with the idea and the actuality of being uncomfortable in order to grow, in order to become better men, better people. Let me know what you guys think. I'm looking forward to seeing your comments down below. If you guys have any questions for me, go ahead and shoot me an email at info@takechargehypnotherapy.net. Thanks so much again for joining me. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.